Ali, 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 yeah. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7.
Unmuted.
Islam, can you hear me, sis?
Clear as the bell. Peace and home.
Gratitude. Islam, Islam, Islamism, without the schism. But let us rise upon the 7 and give all praises to the great God Allah, Father God Allah, and honors to His holy prophet, honors to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, El-Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali, that is. We give honors to our Moorish kin once again, here, there, and everywhere, and therefore honors to all of you who are continuously honoring yourselves by being yourselves. But let us come forth with our ancient Comedian Adept Moorish American prayer. And as we come forth, we ask that you open up your hearts and minds as we open up the way. Islam, Islam, Islamism. Ya Allah abnu heru makuneteru. Ya Allah abhat heru. Ya Allah ma'at heru. Ya Allah hotep heru. Ya Allah heru. Ya Allah ma'at herkuti. Ya Allah ahwajet juti. Ya Allah per im to take per im heru. Ya Allah bamaduti. Al-Hajj chapters rab to Ali. I mean, Halias, Halias, Halias. And that is the same Moorish kin in transliteration. O Allah, the Father of the universe. O Allah, the Father of love. O Allah, the Spirit of truth. O Allah, the Spirit of peace. O Allah, the Spirit of freedom. O Allah, the Spirit of justice. O Allah, you are my protector. O Allah, you are my guide. O Allah, you are my salvation by night and by day. O Allah, through your holy prophet. O Allah, Drew Ali. Ameen. Halias, Halias, Halias. Islam, Moorish kin. And now we come forth before you with the divine constitution of Moorish America. Salvation, our God, unity. The 7 supreme constitutional acts of law. Act 1. The Grand Sheikh and the Chairman of Moorish America are empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of Moorish America. The Assistant Grand Sheikh is to assist the Grand Sheikh in all affairs, if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it is known before the citizens of Moorish America. The bylaws. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly, according to the Circle 7, in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest, because on a Friday the first man was formed in flesh. And on a Friday, the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all citizens of Moorish America. No citizen is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4. All citizens must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all citizens must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you're part and parcel of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. No organization of Moorish America is to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all citizens must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are part and parcel of the said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given as slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live in the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites, whom inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All citizens must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and a partial of all uplifting acts of Moorish America. Moorish Americans must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of Moorish America, and then you're entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his Father God Allah. Prophet Noble Drew Ali, peace and blessings be upon him, founding father and framer of the divine constitution and bylaws of Moorish America. And now that this meeting has been opened according to the Triune Acts, Acts 1, 2, and 3 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, we say Islam, Islam, Islamism. The providence of Allah is ever all his works. He ruleth and directeth with infinite wisdom. He hath instituted laws for the government of the world. He hath wonderfully varied them in all beings, and each by his nature, conforming to his will. Shemo Tepu Moorish Ken.
Islam, Islam, Islam. Gratitude to our National Assistant Grand Chief for opening up the way according to law. I am the National Grand Secretary of the state of Indiana, Dr. Saad Natiru Hajaru El, and I rise giving perfect praises to our Father God Allah and the highest honors to our Holy Prophet El Haj Sharif Abdul Ali. Honors to all of Act 1. Honors to our theocratic Moorish American government, our royal consul. Honors to our Grand National Seal, our Grand National Emblem, and our Grand National Flag, the Moorish flag. Honors to our divine constitution and bylaws, and honors to all of you for being here in our Moorish perspective class, Islam, Islam, Islam. Chapter 50. Holy instructions from the prophet, master, and servant. Repine not, O man, at the state of servitude. It is the appointment of Allah, and has many advantages. It removes thee from cares and solicitudes in life. The honor of a servant is his fidelity. His highest virtues are submission and obedience. Be patient, therefore, under the reproof of thy masters, And when he rebuketh thee, answer not again. The silence of thy resignation shall not be forgotten. Be studious of his interests. Be diligent in his affairs, and faithful to the trust which he reposeth in thee. Thy time and thy labor belong unto him. Defraud him not thereof, for he payeth thee for them. And thou who art a master, be just to thy servant, if thou expectest from him fidelity, and reasonable in thy commands, if thou expectest ready obedience. The spirit of a man is in him. Servitude, severity, and vigor may create fear, but can never command love. Mix kindness with reproof, and reason with authority. So shall thy admonition take place in thy heart, and his duty shall become his pleasure. He shall serve thy faithfully from the motives of gratitude. He shall obey thee cheerfully from the principle of love, and fail thou not in return to give his diligence and fidelity their proper reward. Islam, Islam, Islam. Today is July 29th, 2023, and welcome to another Moorish Perspectives class sponsored by our Moorish American government. Our host instructor is our National Assistant Grand Chief, Dr. Shedo Amiti and Mohamed Shetsuel, coming out of our new chapter of the week, Chapter 50, Holy Instructions from the Prophet, Master, and Servant. Ayat 1. Repine not, O Moorish American national, at the state of servitude. It is the appointment of Allah, and hath many advantages. It removeth thee from cares and solicitudes in life. Gratitude to our National Assistant Grand Chief, Dr. Shedo Minty of Mohamed Shetsuel, for opening us the way according to law. And also gratitude to our National Grand Secretary of the State of Indiana, Dr. Sai Nasiru Hedgeru L, for taking registration and also reading the chapter of the week. More can kindly check your emails. And at this time, I will call to the floor our host instructor, our National Assistant Grand Chief, Dr. Shedo Minty of Mohamed Shetsuel. Islam, Grand Man.
Islam, can you hear me, sis?
Clear as a veil. Gratitude.
Gratitude. Islam, 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 Moorish America. Let us rise upon the seven and give all praises to the great God Allah, Father God Allah, and honors to his holy prophet, honors to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, El-Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali, that is. We give honors to our Moorish kin once again, here, there, and everywhere, and therefore honors to all of you who are continuously honoring yourselves by being yourselves. We give honors to our Grand National Seal, Grand National Emblem, National Flag, Divine Constitution and bylaws, and honors to all of you who are indeed a living manifestation and personification of everything, and I do mean everything that our holy prophet brought to make us a nation. I want to give honors to our Moorish kin who on the manifest standing strong, and also standing in defense for what it is that you represent, and not compromising who you are to appease to anybody else. We give honors to you, Moorish kin, for all it is that you represent, because just as, the world is not moved, so to speak, if they in the material plane or as a result of what you bring about, then you shouldn't be moved either, when it comes to dealing with the world and appeasing to it. So gratitude. We give honors to you, Moorish kin, for being here in this new era and time. We are here to uplift fallen humanity. It don't get no plainer than that right there, being on the manifest to uplift fallen humanity, especially in this new era and time, having the opportunity to be able to be here in this era and time and uplift fallen humanity. If not us, then who? who do you see now that is trying to serve humanity? You see, most of the people in the world now are here to serve, themselves, so to speak. And so this is how you become the friend of the world. If you are willing to be of service to the world. You see, now there's a two-edged sword when you deal with that demonstration, because on one hand, that's what we here to do, serve humanity and uplift fallen humanity. But on the downside, of that concept, if you ain't careful, you end up, serving things that are of no benefit to yourself, and those things again that only benefit the desire of others outside of the self, and that ain't living. In other words, you become a slave under that aspect. There's a difference in offering your services to humanity and being a slave, to the fallen, so to speak. And so we know better, so we gonna do better. Anytime you know better, then you definitely ain't finna go in the realm of your destruction, so to speak, or that which is not going to be beneficial. That is least if we have some sense. You see? So Islam Grand National Secretary of State.
According to National Assistant Grand Sheik, when the conference call 5, you're going in and out.
Okay.
High and low.
Okay. Let me I'm gonna take this.
Miss this blessing.
Oh yeah. I can't control what Rome be having going on, but long as y'all let me know, we gonna try to do it. So let me try to I'm gonna try to see, can I fix this? All right. Give me a second here, and we're gonna see if it sounds a little better. All right. Did that sound better, Grand National Secretary of State?
You're still a little bit low, Mo.
Okay.
That's better right there.
Okay. Yeah. I think it took a little time to adjust. Sometimes they be lagging, because I'm at a good percentage on the phone, but I don't know what they got going on in the frequency. Goodness gracious. I apologize for what Rome did. Islam. But here we go. Islamism without the schism, Morris Ken. And let me know if I go down again, Morris Ken. And I try to readjust the phone again, because all I'm doing, I got the phone on speaker. And so what I do, I just hit the speaker button and then try to switch it back again, and sometime that works. So Islamism without the schism, and gratitude to the Moorish king. So, okay, as we come back, we was demonstrating, saying that, we are here to serve, our people. We here to serve, fallen humanity in the extent to where we trying to raise them up, but not the aspect of where we become slaves again of the fallen. And so we have a grand subject title that we want to bring on the manifest. And that measure is dealing with the holy instructions from the prophet, master, and servant. The holy instructions from the prophet, the master, and servant. Now, when people hear this, the first thing they go to thinking about, is a master, and they talking about slavery. And, nothing can be thought of as more ignorant. You know how I can really give it to you and make it plain to you, though? For those who may have a problem with that, let's go into the realm of those who may be knowledgeable of martial arts. What do you call your instructor? You call him Sifu, right? You call him master, right? You see? And if you're dealing with any knowledge going into the higher self or self-mastery, you go into the realm of dealing with, Siddha yoga and all different types of yoga. You got instructor. They're your guru. They represent your master teacher. What do we call our ancestors? The elders of the community, we call them Baba. Master teachers, so forth and so on, right? So this is the aspect that we demonstrate here when we talk about the concept of a master and a servant and holy instruction from the prophet, concerning master and servant. We're looking at from this degree because we know Prophet Noble Drew Ali himself was a mastermind. But prior to him being the mastermind, he was a servant. And he remained a servant as he was a master. You see? So when we look at it from these degrees, the master and the servant really represent the same entity in all actuality. In other words, this is just talking about different degrees of your own unfoldment. At one state, you are the servant to the mastermind who is serving you with what it is that they have to give, if you willingly accept it. And then when it's your time to ascend, to that same station, then you must be still one of service, and you will be one of servants and a master of being able to serve, because you had went through that special measure and been prepared for it. And now you are a master servant, so to speak. And that ain't got nothing to do with being a slave. That ain't got nothing to do with somebody whipping you, or cracking a whip, across your back, so to speak. Not from the level that we demonstrate now. So let's not play semantics. We saying that because we know our people like to play semantics, when it comes to these things. And that's what make it hard for us to understand and comprehend whatever it is that we are being taught, the instruction that's being given. Because we like to look so much for fault in things to where we cannot embrace, pardon self, embrace, and I said that on purpose. You see, in other words, take hold of something, when it comes to that aspect, we can embrace our higher self more as can if we are in the lower self. You see, we can't embrace the truth if we always looking for falsehood, because here I go, I'm trying to instruct y'all, master teacher somewhere else or any other teacher trying to instruct, and you looking for, something to be in contention with. You can't learn from like that. You ain't got a mentality of service if you thinking like that. That means that the ego is ruling, and that's what's going on. So in order for the teacher to appear, the student must be ready. So when the student is ready, Prophet Noble Drew Ali told us the teacher he will appear. We heard a couple of people in the conscious community use this same expression, but they don't know, or some of them probably do know, that this was Prophet Noble Drew Ali making this statement. That's how we got exposed to it. That statement. And yet it had been made by other people outside of the Prophet, but in the Moorish paradigm, we receive that statement from the Prophet. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. But what happens when the teacher appears and the student, don't want to hear? The student don't want to receive what it is that's being brought. Then whose fault is that? Can the student then blame the teaching or the teacher for that which they were not willing to receive? You see, so our subject is dealing with repine not, O Moorish American national, at the state of servitude. It is the appointment of Allah, and have many advantages. It removeth thee from cares and solicitudes in life. So you automatically know that ain't got nothing to do with some enslavement. You see, and it's the reason why I said repine not, O Moorish American national, instead of man, because we want to extract, this measure of gender all the way up out of there and bring it to the level of all of us being who we are. You see, the state of servitude, us being put in a position to serve people, this is an appointment from the great God Allah, and it gives us many advantages. Many advantages. So if we understand that there's an advantage in service, then we have truly come into a grand degree. Now, our previous chapter in social duties prepared us for this, because we were talking about the holy unity of the rich and the poor. And we already came to the conclusion that, well, we know that this can't be dealing with nobody that's over here in the West, because ain't no holy unity between the rich and the poor here, except that they have come into contact with the teachings that we have. So the same way that we recognize that we are wealthy or rich as a result of us being conscious of our divinity, being conscious of everything that is in us that will allow us to be beneficial with ourselves and so forth and so on. It's the same process when we deal with the concept of the master and servant. See, we have been so off the beat, so to speak, and taken off the count by, this slave obey your master doctrine, and servant, serve your master. The way that Rome had taught this to us in the Piscean records, of what they like to call the Bible. We have been so caught up in that mindset, right? To where when somebody say, you hear the word obey, if you're a man, you get in the ego, like, obey. What do you mean obey? I ain't know. We can even see it in our people trying to speak sometimes. And just say a brother say, because I had this happen on numerous occasions, and I'm dealing with a brother and he full of contention, right? And so I say, brother, all is well. I'm standing down, brother. I'm gonna give you the floor. What you mean you gonna give me the floor? I even had that with an elder not long ago. He was coming toward me. He had to be probably somewhere in his mid 70s or whatever. And so I stepped to the side. I said, go ahead, elder. Huh? What you say? I said, oh, I'm just letting you go by, elder. You go ahead. Oh, you gonna let me go by? You know what I mean? And this is the state that our people are in. They don't even want you to give them the right of way. They ain't the only one demonstrating like that, family. And this actually is inherited behavior, from oppression and the oppressor. You see, and this is how we often get caught up in being controlled through neo-colonialism. Well, we trying to be the new slave master, slave breaker, slave holder, slave catcher. Like the brother Franz Ferdinand would say, the wretched of the earth. One becomes their own slave master. The enemy begins to work through them because of their lack of compassion. I told y'all, Moors, that when the master builder was slain, so to speak, this was actually the extraction of the love that our people had for each other. That was taken away from us. Because remember, in ancient Kemet, Heru Ami Abu mean the dweller of hearts. So when somebody take your capacity to be able to demonstrate love from you, well, ain't that what you think gonna fill the void? Hatred, slander, lewdness, murder, theft, and everything that harm. And that's by degree. Just like we able to sin in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, if we demonstrating that from a 360-degree standpoint, if we ain't careful, we can go counterclockwise and fall or plummet into chaos and darkness, and be everything that's in retrospect to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. So instead of being love, you become hate-filled. Instead of being truth, you become falsehood. Instead of being peace, you war-ridden in your mind. Instead of demonstrating freedom, you trying to enslave somebody. You think about putting somebody in bondage. Instead of freedom, you bringing injustice to somebody. You see? So we have the potential to be one with deific will and express the Godhead. Or we also have a potential to express going into the lower self. Some of our people so ate up with it to where they don't even want to hear the word God, but they don't have anything to replace it with. But another man's idea. You see, they'll tell you what the Most High ain't, and what the Most High should be and what he is and his limitations. But if you ask them, well, what is your foundation? They don't have anything to stand upon. So we have to be aware of those too who have the forked tongue, and are eloquent in their own ignorance, that we not become a slave to somebody else's ideology, a slave to somebody else's personality, because we are not personality worshippers. We're not personality worshipers. We don't worship at the shrine, of carnal men's minds. So just dealing with it from that special aspect, we understand the difference between, again, the master and the servant from this degree that we're speaking on. It's talking about the station, again, of being able to serve oneself. But we too have to first learn how to serve. The only way you can do that is you got to let go of the ego. Most of our people won't even allow you to serve them in the state that they have fallen into. Most of them don't want to hear, this is special measure here of you telling them how to properly serve, the brother or the sister. You see? So that's what we are here to do. We're here to teach our people, give them divine guidance. You see, all you can do is give it to them, but you can't make them understand what it is you're trying to give them. Just give it to them and let them grow. If they grow, they're going to grow. I know they used to have this thing. I remember my mother and her friends. We used to have these little areas because I'm down here in the South. And everywhere you go, we have places where you can go off in there and get in the water, so to speak. That's what we did down here in the country. And I remember going out there with my mother and her friends and all of them one time. And these are all grown people now. And I'm out there with him. And I remember one brother, he had his better half with him. And she couldn't swim. And he took her, he threw it off in the water. And she was going under. They said, man, what you doing? You ain't going to get her. He jumped in there and got her up out of there. But he basically was saying, if she can't swim, she going to drown. That was their way of being humorous. They was having fun. But in this special case, when I apply that same methodology to this drawing, where we at right now, either you going to sink or you going to swim, but ain't nobody there to jump out there but you, to save you, so to speak. So this is why Prophet Noble Drew Ali told us we got to save ourselves. Ain't no devil outside of you that you got to be scared of. Ain't no God outside of you that's going to deliver you. The God that's on the manifest is in you. He may express his attributes and his characteristics in everything in creation, but he's working through you. So when you say servant, you got to be willing to serve the higher dictates of yourself, the God within. We don't worship gods outside of the self over here. I'm telling you. So if you think that about this Moorish American government and these Moors, you dealing with a whole different group of people. We ain't talking about no spookism. So the master is right there within you. Who you think the mastermind is? A mastermind ain't no Negro. Somebody that think they 3/4 slick, lacking a full dollar. So when we talk about the holy instructions from Prophet Noble Drew Ali, dealing with master and servant, again, please don't confuse this with European chattel slavery, because they're two different things. And once you're able to get that right there, then when we go into these special measures, you will be fulfilled, so to speak, as we begin to go into this drawing. So it's just a powerful measure, Moorish Ken, to be on the manifest in this new era in time and be able to teach our people and reach our people with the truth. This is what life is spent to build, the temple of perfected man. So when we look at it like this, if we understand that life is spent to build the temple of perfected man, then you got to be serving the higher self to do that. How you gonna serve somebody else outside of the self to build your temple? Oh no, you looking for somebody else to be your servant and build your temple, because somebody told you this is what the Egyptians did to the Hebrews. No, I'm just messing with your Moorish kid. But in all actuality, again, we are here with responsibility to build our own temple of perfection. And we can't do that if we too busy trying to basically be in somebody else's guard, doing work that we should be doing for ourselves. it's a lot of times if we go in both the Bible or the Quran where you see, man is basically being told, that he is to be a servant to the Creator. You see, that word that deals with servant, is Abdul. Abdul. And it just so happened to be right there in the name of Prophet Noble Drew Ali as well. You see, he is a servant of humanity. And so when we understand that servant is not something bad, we understand, we hear the word obey, it means obey your higher self. And it ain't got nothing to do with you being a slave to nobody else. Then you can rest easy and be comfortable in offering your services to uplift fallen humanity. And then someone who is receiving your services, if they have a proper state of consciousness when it comes to our people, then they can receive them with a mode of gratitude. You see, some of our people, they feel like they want a buck offering services to people or receiving services, let's say from our own people, even more, so to speak. And they think that they hurting the individual. In all actuality, no, this is for your benefit. All you got to do is go right to the ayat that we would just demonstrate. What does it say when we go into the holy instructions from the prophet dealing with master and servants? Again, repine not, O Moorish American national, at the state of servitude, because you got to offer up some services. Don't be complaining about that. That's what repine means. You see, this is an appointment from the great God Allah to make you better. This is an appointment from the great God Allah that is an advantage for you. And this is how you begin to remove the impurities. You remove those impurities of what not wanting to receive service or not wanting to give service. It's all a state of mind, family. And that's the real, we can say, golden cord that rolls and flows, so to speak, throughout every teaching that you can find. The golden cord is learning how to be better than you was, so that others may benefit, from that greatness. Others may benefit from what it is that you were able to obtain along the way. And that's how we are able to distribute true wealth. It's in our character. You see somebody, they complaining all the time. Oh, me, oh, yeah. Man, you better get away from them. Because to be honest with you, that complaining is the chanting of a mantra. Somebody that's complaining all the time. I can't get ahead. I need that. Oh, every time you turn around, they're in a state of complaining. Never looking at, the gratitude, never looking at the things to be grateful for. Ain't nothing never going good. They may even ask you for advice. And then when you give them advice, they don't accept the advice. So they ain't receiving what it is that you have to give. They don't want to receive the service, that you're giving them in admonishing them and so forth and so on. You can't help somebody like that. So we as Moorish American Muslims, we don't get caught all the way up into the flesh and the plane of things made manifest, where we get to living in the hotel of Les Miserables. For those who don't know what that is, that's the hotel of misery. You see, and then we go to looking for some company. So we have to learn to rise above situations. This is what life is about, becoming conquerors of the conditions, in different circumstances that may present themselves before us. And this is how we see what we truly made of. Since you got that big old ego and you think that you are, this and you that, well, stand up in the paint when it's time to stand up in the paint for yourself. Hear the higher self and the higher dictates of light and obey them if you're strong enough. But you can't be strong and weak at the same time. And you know you can't get strength from weak sources. Ain't no such thing as weak and strong strangely mixed. Because we know truth and falsehood strangely mixed is an illusion. You can't be weak and strong at the same time. It's impossible. Well, that's at least if you continue to doing your work, and you continue, to putting the work in. Because sometimes they say, well, if you don't use it, you lose it. And the problem is with us is we have not come to a state of consciousness where we have been able to consciously make these lessons applicable to ourselves, meaning knowing how to apply them on the drop of the dime, so to speak. So when a situation come up automatically, this demonstration come right up in your apparatus in your thinking, capacity. So you automatically know soon as that's how you got to be with these lessons or these teachings, the instructions of our ancestors. That's how they was in ancient Kemet. They wasn't just talking about Ma'at and truth and right. If a situation arose, you can see that they was demonstrated. All you got to do is go through some of, the measures that you find on the manifest, and you'll notice they was talking about truth and right, living their life by the laws of Ma'at, and so forth and so on. So they applied those principles when the situation arose for them to apply the principles. Most of us in this new era in time, we just like to learn the language and become familiar with the terminology, the sound slick. But when it come time to apply the lesson, we throw it out the door. And this ain't just Moorish American Muslim that do this. This is mostly everybody that have books of truth that was sent to them. We honor all books of truth. It said in the Grand Quran, let the people of the book judge by what has been revealed to them, and let the Muslim judge by what was revealed to them. To each people, he had given a law in an open way. But when situations arise, you don't see people, embracing that law, so to speak. You see, you don't see them embracing that law. They throw it out the window and they go for what they know. And then that is why you see all types of conflict, and so forth and so on. So I know sometimes, Morris Ken, it may be harsh to hear the truth, but somebody got to tell you. Somebody got to tell you the truth. I know sometimes these words may be cutting some of our people scimitar deep. And we ain't trying to direct it in no way. We just speaking as the spirit dictate us to speak. So if you touch, just be grateful. And know that the great God Allah meant for you to be touched. You see, I'm just a vessel. I don't take credit or claim for it. If he used me to touch you, I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do, because that's what angels do. We here to make it rain. We ain't here to worry about who get wet and who don't get wet. We ain't here to worry about who got an umbrella and who ain't got an umbrella. You see, we ain't here to worry about who gonna play in it and who gonna get out the way of it. Our duty is to teach our people their nationality and divine creed. Offer your services. That's all you can do, Morris Ken. Once you get into the state of being able to serve the people, this is what makes you a mastermind. And again, that mastermind is a master servant. So this is why the prophet again brought this as the holy instructions from himself, being that of master and the servant, because you are the master and the servant. I got to emphasize that again, just in case we didn't get it. You see? Yeah, this is a powerful drawing. Prophet Noble Drew Ali, when he went on his journey, and they gave him that name Abdullah, Abdul in all actuality, it's still connected to the same root. Abdullah and Abdul, they still connected to each other linguistically. So when he was given that name, being a servant, he was already getting his mission statement. It was in his high name, El Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali. What does El Hajj mean? That's one that goes on a journey, a pilgrimage. In all actuality, it represents the completion of a cycle. That's the real concept of the Hajj, to make the journey and make the way back. And then making the journey and making the way back, and then becoming noble as a result of that. A noble servant, of the Most High, Ali, that explains everything it is what he came to demonstrate. To make the journey, return noble as a servant of the Most High. That's the whole translation of Prophet Noble Drew Ali's name. And we can teach a multitude of lessons just on that alone. So we have to do the same thing. We got to embody our high name. Whatever your high name, expresses, that is your purpose. Your purpose is in your name. A good name is greater than gold. And if you demonstrate your service properly, your name will become enriched. You will be spoken upon, with high verbiage, so to speak. You will be honored. You will be respected. And that's where we go back to Prophet Noble Drew Ali saying, if you yourself would follow me and imitate me, then you will share power with me. All that means is that, and if we were truly following him, look at what he was able to do in really just 7 years. In 7 years, look at what Prophet, that's all it was. From the time that he came from the Canaanite temple up until his work being finished in Chicago, rough a good 7 years. But look at what he was able to accomplish in that much time. Now multiply 7 until you get up into the time of where we at right now. And look at how many years we've been on the manifest, and yet most of the people who claim to follow the prophet have not accomplished what he has accomplished. We don't say this to beat our family up. We're saying that this should be a teachable measure. That means that we should be striving to make ourselves more like he was if we really want to be successful in uplifting our people and being able to reach our people in order to be able to serve our people. But our people in this new era in time, they're more worried about trying to expose, what they can find in what they consider to be your lower self, to make themselves more comfortable where they are. They don't want to demonstrate the higher self, so they will blaspheme against anybody that look like the higher self. They want to find fault in one that is trying to demonstrate the higher self. And then, okay, yeah, now I feel comfortable, because he ain't no different from me. Instead of really obeying the higher self. Because you can believe anything that's destructive to you or destruction that you bring towards you, it comes from the lower vibration. It ain't coming from nobody outside of you. It's coming from you. You attracted that based upon the laws of attraction, so to speak. You see, we ain't saying that good people don't go through struggle. Now, don't get me wrong. Because all of us have tests along the way. We're not saying that This is wrath coming down on one. But anytime you find one that can't come up out of the state that they in, it is because of the thought pattern. One is yet to change the thought pattern. So if you don't change the way that you view things and the way that you look at the world, then everything around you gonna remain the same. Even if things are changing around you, you won't be able to tell it because your mindset is on loop mode. You see, in a state to where you can't see the blessings manifested. All you can see, in fact, you can't see nothing. You're in a state of darkness. You see? So that's why we direct each other to the self. You don't hear us in here preaching, talking about you going to hell and brimstone and fire. We don't teach and preach like that. We instructing our people on how to be God. We instructing our people on how to be one with the Most High. And what they do with that, what you do with that, that's on you. It ain't for me to stand over one and say, yeah, you gonna demonstrate the measure. It ain't for now one of us to do that. All we do is get a demonstration and keep it moving. My duty as a watchman, is breathe, the holy breath upon my family, and what they do with it after that right there, that's on them. But it definitely ain't our duty to get out here and think that we gonna be the one that's with this mindset of somebody got to bear my cross. That old Christian mentality, where we were taught that somebody had to die for us. No, we dying daily. We've been mentally dead. So if you're looking for somebody to die, all you got to do is look at the way you've been thinking. If you were thinking dead in the head, there you go right there. So you got your own burden to bear. It's not your responsibility to bear my burden, nor is it my responsibility to bear your burden. We all are moving in this special realm to do the best and be the best example, that we already are, because it even said in the Grand Quran, you are the best generation that has been risen from amongst humanity. Man, come on, man. We already have everything it is that we feel we lack. So you ain't got to worry about nobody cracking you over the back with no whip, talking about you going to work for free neither. You see, all that's dealing with servitude in the form of what we call chattel slavery. So our people really have to look at the self, and take from that, the strength to be able to overcome, all obstacles it is that they are facing. If we're not able to be master thinkers, then somebody else is going to master our minds. And you will forever be at the mercy of somebody else as opposed to being a dictator of your own life. And we say these things in love. We say it in love, but we also speak in the matter of urgency. So if you hear one speaking and, it may rub you the wrong way, don't take it personal. It's just that we ain't got time to be playing. Our people dying on a daily basis. Many of them don't know whether they coming or going. Many of them are sedated, with different types of intoxicants and drugs and uppers and downers and all around the corner and so forth and so on. And then you're gonna, they caught up in that special measure. And some of our people think that you can just wish, this state, this status that we've been placed in away. Or we'd rather not talk about it. Let's just ignore it. Let's just eat, drink, and be merry until we die. And then we pass this same curse, as they like to call it, down to the young and the not yet born. No. Not us. Not this Moorish American government. That ain't how we demonstrate. We're going to change our condition. But that's what happens. Most of our people, when they come of age and recognize what's going on, they either have a fear They don't have the fight in them, so to speak. They don't have the fight in them to stand in opposition to that which they know is leading to their demise. How can you know that you getting took off the count? Like our Grand Secretary of the State said earlier in our class, somebody sharpening the knife for you, getting ready to cut your throat. How you gonna sit there and be comfortable with that and say, oh, well, I know gonna cut my throat anyway, so I'm gonna just let them go ahead and do it? Well, if that's the case, then why don't you use that time and that same mindset to stand up for something then, since you don't mind going? Because it don't make sense to just lay there like a sheep and you ain't gonna say, man, nothing, like a lamb. You ain't gonna say nothing. You gonna just let somebody. Goodness gracious. In other words, I'm talking about we shouldn't be content, Morris Ken, in no sense of the way, to where we content, to where we just give up. Some of our people don't even like that. Telling them to keep moving forward. Don't give up, family. Keep it moving. March and counter march. Like the white clad soldiers. You see? So again, we just want to overemphasize. I mean to overemphasize the concept, of us being able to serve the higher self. And the only way we can do that is by knowing who we are. And nobody is going to teach you that, especially when it is in their benefit that you remain of service to them. We already know, so this ain't nothing new that I'm saying here. But sometimes we have to be reminded. You see, and this is what will remove you, from being caught up in the cares of the world. To the extent that, well, some of our people, and this is put it this way, we got a divide in our community. We got those who want to change the condition, and then we have those who, again, have become content. And it's sad that on a generational level, family, these two paradigms are being passed down, generation after generation, where we actually have our people fighting against each other. The ones that want to remain like they is, ain't gonna do nothing, ain't gonna try to change their condition. They content with being there, but yet they got everything to say about those who are trying to change our condition. My thing is, if you don't want to change the condition, then stay over there. Be content in what you're doing, but don't try to get up there and stop other people. But the most time they do this is because they don't feel comfortable down there by themselves. They content if they feel like everybody are there with them. Everybody's willing to suffer contently with them. They all right. You see what I'm saying? So we need not be taken off of the count neither, by those who claim they are friends or brothers or sisters or whatever you want to call them. Yet they are working in opposition, to you trying to free them and free yourself. How you going to be in opposition to freedom and say that you want freedom? How you going to be in opposition to liberation and at the same time cry for liberation? How you going to look for a redeemer and reject salvation when it's on the manifest? Make it make sense now. I mean, something may be wrong with me. I may be the one that's crazy for thinking, that we supposed to be trying to demonstrate, some love, truth, peace, freedom. Is it maybe something wrong with me? Huh? Goodness gracious. And all of this is just dealing with all of this is coming from self-reflection. Not even looking at, somebody else, but self-reflection, family. I want for my brothers and sisters what I want for myself. I want to be free, so I want you to be free too. I want some love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, so I want you to have some love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice too. I want my own government. I want to demonstrate self-determination. I want you to have that too. Why wouldn't I want you to have that too? I mean, how much planning can we get? We was listening to the demonstration today, Dale Jones dealing with slave ship. That one said, please help me make my people see. Ancestors, please. Come on, man, because they won't listen to me. And I was telling them, I said, well, that slave ship is really a state of mind. That slave ship is a mindset, family. And that demonstration anchored in our own ignorance. Our ignorance is the anchor, that's holding us on the ship. So we got to learn how to cut the cord. We got to use that scimitar consciousness to cut the cord, family. But you can't learn that from somebody that wants to see you in that state of servitude where you're serving them. It's going to take a mastermind. And again, that means you yourself have to become a master servant. In order to obtain something out of humanity, you have to serve humanity with something. You got to offer your services. Everybody that you see in the world that has become successful in certain aspects of life, and they have become moguls, if you want to call them that, they had to offer some services to somebody. And you can demonstrate the same thing when it comes to dealing with the knowledge of self. But we just don't know it. Because somebody told us again, that this service is on another level. I'm going to give you a drawing real quick right here just to show you something. Let me share my entire screen here. Let's see here. Because I got a few measures I had pulled up actually. And I was dealing with the words. They got a bunch of different words, dealing with, the concept of, complaining, right? We know complaining mean to whine and everything. I'm just going through this little dictionary right here so you can look at it from the comedic standpoint. They got many different words. There's a lot of words right here. Different words. Who at? You got well and complaining. That means they were complaining back then too. You see? They were complaining way back then. Here's another word right here. Arrested. That's another complaint, right? I'm just showing you different definitions in here, right? But there are some that stand out earlier than others. Watch this. Circe or sir, right? Circuru, right? Accuser, defamer, complainer, disease, demon. A demon that causes illnesses. Oh my goodness. So wait a minute. You mean to tell me that somebody that complain is really somebody that is an accuser? This is somebody like to defame? And this is really a disease demon? Or this is a demon that causes illness? This is what you're telling me? Oh man. That's something else right there, right? Wow. And we can just go on with this thing, but it's so many words. I see that this complaining, this is just showing evidence that the concept of complaining was on the manifest for the longest. Look here it is here, circ instead of circe, and it's complain, lay information against accused. So why is this complaining often coming up with the same definition of accusing somebody? Somebody always asks me, they say, man, how it's going? Everything good? I say, yeah, I can't complain. It ain't going to be no good if I ain't willing to fix it. That's how I follow it up, because some people just say, I can't complain, and they keep it moving on when somebody asks them how they doing. And I say, I can't complain, and ain't no good in complaining if you ain't trying to fix it. So, and I said that because y'all going to see something in a minute, because I'm going to go into the Arabic as well. You know what I mean? So to simply just complain is actually to invoke, you know, a demonic spirit, so to speak, amongst yourself, wrath amongst yourself. You actually be chanting a mantra. I can't do this. I can't build that. I wonder why they treat me like they treat me so bad. You know what I mean? You got all the reason to complain, but when it comes to trying to build something, you don't want to build. You don't want to change your condition. You have become possessed by your lower self at that particular point. We don't mean to be harsh, but we just telling you so we be careful and we stay, in a high state of vibration. Here it is again here, Circle. Because that is a K right there. For those who don't know, if you don't know nothing about it, comedically right there, see that? That's a K. Circle, right? Which is accuser, complainer, evil spirit. So if you wonder, if you ever get in a state of people, and most of the people that get into this state of just complaining and repining, so to speak, they know when they are trying to place their burden on somebody else, and then they'll actually try to beat you getting mad. If you don't feed into the foo-foo, But again, yeah, Circe, accuser, defamer, disease demon, a demon that causes illness. We already covered that. Let me see. We got some more definitions up here as well. Let's go to the next measure. We already went to the lay information against. Here's one right here, siwi, or siu, which means to take action against, make complaint against, announce someone. Now notice this. Notice somebody trying to sue their master teacher because they failed to apply what their master teacher told them. And they say, he didn't teach me right because I failed in being able to do what he said I can do. He said that I can conquer myself, and I wasn't conquered by I was conquered by my lower self. I didn't conquer self, so I want to sue him. I'm just using this as an example. So his teachings ain't what he said. It was false advertisement because you failed to apply the teachings and make them applicable to yourself. I think not. So Sui, announce someone, make complaint against. Right? So we see this thing, boy, there was a lot of complaining going. They got many words for this demonstration, but most of them stemming from the same root that we see here. All over the place. So complaining ain't nothing different. You see? We have those who like to write grievances and that poor accusations, against their own government. They're gonna make, they're gonna try to deal with you like they deal with you in a Roman situation. Like we're talking about, they want to sue you. They want to write you up. All types of stuff we learn in the West. It teaches you complaint automatically leads into a state of competition and opposition. Let's just put it that way. Look at it. Look at it. These words, and I'm just randomly hitting the arrow here going through this, but we see that there was some complaining going on way back, during the time of ancient Kemet. We understand that this is a possibility, but to have that many different words for complaints and complainers. Look at that. Kenwi. Wailers. Somebody that's crying. That's one of the last ones there too. That's where you hear somebody say, let the baby cry sometime. Goodness gracious. Yeah. Let the baby cry sometime. Man, that's terrible. So, going into the Arabia, right? They had a couple of definitions for the word complain here as well. That's not the definition there. I'll show you. This is one here, right? It means, again, there it goes, similar definitions. This word is shaka in the Arabic. To complain, accuse, bewail. Ashka. Now, this is Quranic Arabic. Now, this is the Arabic of the Quran. So we can see. It says to listen. Hold up, give me 1 second here. Let me make sure I put this in so it don't shut down on me. My little power cord. Okay, there we go. So yeah, it says to listen to the complaint, to remove the cause of the complaint. Satisfy the complaint of anyone by. So in other words, the word shaka itself means to accuse, to complain, to bewail, to be wailing. But then ashka actually means to listen to the complaint, to remove the cause of the complaint. So let's look at one that is in the service, of a master teacher and learning to master themselves. Wouldn't the master be the one that would listen to them in the state that they are, right? Give them the instruction, but it's on them to deal with the instruction, to try to remove the cause of their complaint and satisfy the complaint of the complainer. But again, if that person has received the instruction that's necessary to remove what it is that's troubling them, and they choose not to, you can't blame the master teacher for it, because he told you what to do. You chose to stay down in there in that bottomless pit and deal with them measures. This is another word dealing with the word that relates to the complaint aspect. Because see, sometimes a complaint turns into blaming the person that you complaining to. In other words, somebody blame you. You ain't even got to have nothing to do with their condition, but they're going to blame you for what they're going through. See right here, ataba, right? To be angry and blame. So you mad now because you going through what you're going through, so you're going to blame somebody else. Istaba, which means to seek to remove, blame, seek favor. See, you have ataba, which means to be angry, to blame. Then you have istaba, which means, see, so you see the problem, but you see the solution. The solution is to seek to remove blame, to seek favor, to seek pleasure, to please, to be allowed to make amends for his sins. You heard the prophet say he gonna redeem the Moors for their sinful ways. That's your chance to get it right then, right? It says, accept any excuse in defense, take favor, be allowed. Prophet Noble Drew Ali said, I forgave you for everything you did before I came. So if he ain't blaming you for your condition, how you gonna blame the one that's trying to teach you? A real master teacher ain't gonna blame you for your condition. They ain't gonna condemn you for what you going through. So what would make you think that you would have a right to condemn them because you going through what you going through, as if they don't have their own measures that they had to come out of? See, it say, be allowed to approach the threshold. This is giving leeway. Be given leave to seek pleasure or regard with favors, grant goodwill. See, that's what istaba means, as opposed to ataba, just being angry and blaming somebody. You see? Now watch this. This is the deepest part. This is what I like about this one. It says ataba'atun, which means threshold, hold of a door, step of a ladder, ascent of hill, utba, favor granted, itab, blame, reproof again, complaint, charge, atab, right? Atabatu, step of a ladder. Now we're getting somewhere. Then I say that a servant mind obeys the mastermind, and that makes the mastermind become a master servant? Or did I say obedience? Or did I say obey is the first rung on the 12-step ladder? So you can climb up by means of ascent when you know how to obey the high dictates in life. And when you obey the high dictates of life, you're no longer blaming someone outside of the self. And in fact, you ain't even looking at the blame. You looking at the way that you can rectify the situation. We call it being able to exercise your power of resolution. But you can't get strength from weak sources. You got to be a master thinker now. You see? And this is just going by definition of words. We can go on and on with this here. But I just want to make this point that complaining has been around. I even got one right here that's dealing with, the word complaint, which actually deal with a wound in the liver. You do know it was saying earlier too in the comedic demonstration that, complaints is a demonic disease, a disease demon. So if you got a demon, in this aspect of dealing with complaining, that means you must be stressed out, you must be depressed, you must be filled with all type of anxiety, and heartache and headache and so forth and so on. So now you done did some wound to your body. So here go the wound to the liver right here. You got some liver issues, you know, but all this right here has to do with certain difficulties. There, go down and look at that at the bottom. How you gonna hurt your liver in regards to dealing with being miserable, distress, trouble, your obstacles, huh? The struggle on the outside dealing with what? A struggle on the inside too. Kabadee. Man, these some powerful demonstration right here, Morris King. When you recognize, that you are the one that bring about your own illness and so forth and so on, you also recognize how you are able to heal yourself. Because the ancestors believed in ancient Kemet, if you was ill in some way, then it has to do with your thinking. It has to do with something also connected to the self. And none of us are exempt from that. But when you are able to demonstrate your higher self, you can heal yourself. Everything begin to flourish around you. You heaven on earth. You know what I mean? So we have to just be studiers of the self, family. We got to be studiers of the self. And we got this one down here saying, I thought you said the glyphs ain't being deciphered. And we ain't going to even address the nonsense, so to speak, because those who are scribes that teach, in this realm, we know that the metal netta, again, is symbology. And as far as dealing with them transliteration, they didn't come from the hieroglyphs, my brother. That's all I say to you. They came from hieratic. We got the hieratic papyri to prove it, done proved it. I ain't going into it now. This is a prime example, though, Moors, with this individual right here in our chat right now. Remember I told y'all, we here demonstrating the measure on mastering the self now. But all our people can do is go outside of the self and look for a reason to try to find fault in a measure, because that's where they at along the way. And we ain't even mad at the brother on that right there. We ain't mad at him if that's where he chose to demonstrate at. But this is just a prime example of what I was just speaking on. Here we go talking about the master and the servant, and all we can think about is trying to think you got a realm on the contradictory. And you heard me say up there earlier that we ain't even dealing with no anaglyphs and none of that hieroglyphic stuff. But that's just a whole nother measure, family. So we encourage our family to become a master of your own mind. And you ain't got the word. So I even said to this extent to the brother that was in here a few minutes ago, don't let my mind dictate the way that you study what you study. I'm not your master. Master your own mind, my brother. You see, and then you will find peace with the self. Sometimes I be thinking they be trying to make it seem like I don't know. I believe they be thinking I'm like, Jesus or Muhammad or somebody. As if they could if you could make it look like Commission ain't demonstrating what he's supposed to be there. Sure enough, then I can go down there and live in Hotel Miss Riagas. And that's one thing we have to do, family. We got to learn, because we demonstrate from the professor aspect over here. That's another thing about a master teacher. Master teacher ain't somebody that's going to hold your hand, or put you in no stroller and push you around. Nor they going to put you in no high chair to feed you. You see what I'm saying? The mastermind going to let you move as you move, because a mastermind demonstrating that professor degree. You see? And once you get into that professor degree, all is well. You see? His brother say, I got a complaint. Why using the glyphs that you saying weren't deciphered? I'm gonna let you have that right there, good brother. You know, I'll let you go back and see it. Go back and look at the video, and you'll get it. You know, and actually too, if you want to, I got about, let me see, what is it, about 100 videos on here. A couple of them dealing with the language. So go over there and check them videos out, and you'll get a clear conception, family. I understand where you're coming from. I get your plight, brother. It's gonna be all right. We love you over here. We understand what you're going through. But all right. So yeah, this is a grand draw, Morris Ken, dealing with the concept of master and servant. And we have to become masters of our own mind. And once we're able to become masters of our own mind and our own thought, you know, it ain't nothing that we can't accomplish. You see, again, you know, we are not those out here who trying to enslave our people. We trying to teach you how to be God. We ain't trying to teach you how to serve man, nor are we trying to teach you how to serve the intellect of man or appease to the intellect of man. We trying to teach you how to be God. And we say that boldly and meaningfully as well. So repine not, O Moorish American national. Stop complaining. Don't complain at the state of being in service of your people. This is the appointment of the great God Allah, and it has many advantages for those who would like to take advantage of it. It also move, you know, some of that crud away from your heart, you know, that you may be successful in life. So that's my particular measure. I'm going to open up right now so that I can hear from my Moorish kin, you know, and we give honors to you all for everything it is that you come to demonstrate. You know, I don't take credit for anything that I demonstrate. I just love to be a vessel in this new era and time, because I could have been born anywhere throughout the times and the climes of all the cycle ages that became manifest, but I was blessed to be here with you, you know, and that's an honor to me, you know. So gratitude, Moorish kin. And at this time, what we're going to do, we're going to open up the floor so that we can hear from our Moorish kin. Remember, our subject matter is dealing with the holy instruction from the prophet, dealing with the master and the servant. And our ayat that we're dealing with again is actually coming from our Moorish Holy Quran. First ayat, repine not, O Moorish American national, at the state of servitude. Again, it is the appointment of Allah and have many advantages. It removeth thee from the cares and solicitudes in life. So that being said, we're going to open up the floor so we can get some of this Moorish love that came from above, because wisdom speaks from out of the highest plane of spirit light. Now breathe on us, Moors, and lift us up. Islam. Star 6 your phone, Moors.
Islam.
Islam, Sister Curtis Bay. Uh-oh, y'all done messed up now. Sister Curtis Bay done came in early.
Yes, indeed, because I'm not letting no crickets be in there. I see nobody else jumping in. I'm going to jump in.
Islam.
Islam. Dr. Dendra Nia Curtin Bay. First, let me rise and give praises to our great God Allah. I give honors to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. I give honors to Act One. I give honors to all my government officials, and I give honors to you, National Assistant Grand Sheik. Woo! For this wonderful grand class tonight. And man, I've been trying to share this thing on my little Facebook. I've been sharing and sharing and sharing, because this is such a powerful class. And I mean, man, you covered so much, and I learned so much. And our subject coming from our chapter. And I tell you, these chapters, it's like I didn't heard, we didn't been over these chapters I don't know how many times, but now that we are going over them now, they just seem like they are all tying into what is going on on this planet, in this earth. It's just like they just coming a lot. I don't have words to explain how these chapters are really jumping out at me now. And we've been over these chapters before, but it's like I've never seen that. I'm like,
if someone is speaking, we can hear them on the conference call line.
Oh, you can't hear Sister? Okay, you can't hear Sister Curtis Bay speaking?
No, we cannot, Grandman.
Okay. Well, go ahead, speak again, Sister Curtis Bay, and see if she can see again.
Islam, Goddess, can you hear me now? Islam?
Islam, much better. Gratitude.
Okay, and I know y'all had some also some service issues today too, sis. So it might be a lag on y'all end too, that's coming on y'all side of the phone as well. So you may have to check your internet too. Islam.
Islam. Islam. And but gratitude, and I hope y'all can hear me, family. But going to our subject, repine not, O Moorish American national, at the state of servitude. It is the appointment of Allah and have many advantages. It removeth thee from cares and solicitude in life. And God, man, when you was talking about, you covered, like I said, you covered so much. And there are certain words when people hear them, they just like go crazy. Like you were saying, when you hear when our people hear the word obey, you see, we done been hit over the head with that setting mall so hard. It kind of like knocked the sense out of us. And when we hear something about obey, and when we hear words like servitude or things of that nature, we think about how the European use those words and stuff. And I can remember in teaching our goddesses and things when they was getting ready to get married. I remember clearly, but I didn't know no better either. We was adamant about, I ain't obeying. I'm not gonna obey. I'm not gonna obey him. And but when I thought about it as you was teaching tonight, the reason we were saying it like that, because number one, we didn't understand. Well, we didn't even have the prophets teachings in most and foremost. And then we had never seen a real man. We had never seen a God man. The only example we had seen was the men beating up the woman, beating her up, treating her, calling her all kind of foul names and stuff. We saw all the negative. We didn't have no examples of what a good man supposed to be. We didn't have no examples of how a man supposed to treat that goddess. We didn't have that because we didn't have the teachings of our prophet Noble Jew Ali. And then another thing, I had to look up that word solicitude. It said that means let me see. Maybe I wrote it down. It means care or concern for someone or something, causes of anxiety or care. And Allah is telling us that when we go through these things, if we don't complain, and Dr. Shahid, I tell you, this is such a powerful class. I mean, the way you broke this thing down and how you just showed us about a complainer. When we complain, how that mean accuser. That's a demon that causes illness, a defamer, evil spirit. I'm like, oh my goodness. So when I would complain, you mean to tell me I was like in the same category as the devil? Because that's what he do. You know, this is so powerful, family. You can see I am excited. I am so excited about these teachers. And that's what happened when you come and get in these classes, when you come to the Moorish American government. That's what you get. You get teachings from you. Wisdom comes from the highest plane of spirit life. And I'm gonna quiet. I'm gonna be quiet right now, God man, because I tell you, I'm so excited, and I know our Moorish King is just as excited as I am and ready to give their measure. But that's my measure, and gratitude for let me share. But I tell you, I got a whole page over here. Islam, peace and love.
In Islam and peace and love. It ain't strange though, because you remember the word Satan and devil actually mean accuser as well. And even Iblis that became Shaitan, once he became Shaitan, it was because he didn't get what he desired. You know what I mean? So he complained, and therefore went to spread that foolery, throughout the earth land. And this is why he say, I go to and fro the earth and up and down in it. When you ask him where you going, say. So That's where that degree come from. It ain't got nothing to do with spookism. This is dealing with one that allow themselves to become the host of that type of behavior. You see? So that's power. Ignorance is bliss too. Iblis. We can also, if you want to get into the anthropology, we can say Homo habilis. Because you do know you got the one that was turned into apes and swine because they violated the Sabbath. The holy day or the hallowed day. So that's a whole nother measure as well. So it's all about the level of thinking, as to where we are able to heal ourselves or we will bring destruction to ourselves. You see? And so gratitude, Moorish kin, for that measure. Islam, Sister Curta Bay. All right, I think I heard another more on the call trying to come in right when you came in, Curta Bay. So who was that other more that was trying to get in? Speak now or forever hold your Moorish peace. Y'all love Disneyland, don't you? I think I'm gonna have to start drafting in a minute. Is there any other more that would like to bring forth their measure? I don't know. Maybe they don't hear me though. Can you hear me out there more?
Islam, I can hear you well.
Can anybody on the conference call hear me? Because it might be my end. Because a lot of more said they couldn't hear me early. Can anybody hear me on the conference call?
We can hear you, National Assistant Grand Chief.
Okay, gratitude, Grand National Secretary. So I was just trying to make sure. That means the amount that's there listening that y'all see on the board hear me too then. So anyway, you know, we just Islam, Brother Marvin Edwards Bay. What have you to say, Grand Man?
Gratitude. I just got to get somewhere and try to loud. Yes, this is Dr. Marvin Edwards Bay out of the Texas Consulate. Right, and giving all praise to the great God of Allah, giving high honor to his prophet, our prophet, Prophet thru Ali, our streets on thru Ali. We give the honor to our theocratic government, our more American government. We give our honor to our Act 1. We give our honor to all of our cities. We give our honor to this class, our more respected class. As well as I give honor to you, Dr. T.D. as well, a national assistant grand chief of North America and instructor and host of this most powerful Morris respected class. I give honor to everything that is Morris, our flag, our seal, our emblem, our divine constitution, our holy Quran, our book of Ali, our 101, 102, our human of a nation. All about divine revelation I give honor. I give honor to the forerunner, Dr. Marcus Mcgavell. As well as I give honor to the ancestors and shoulders we stand upon.
Islam, Brother Marvin Evans Bay, if you're speaking, we can't hear you.
Islam.
Islam. I think maybe Dr. Shaheed might have dropped off too. Islam. I don't see him in the square up here.
Yeah, I don't see him either, Goddess and Queen. Give him a minute.
He didn't look. Yeah, you had dropped
There
off
you
the
Okay.
panel for a minute.
Okay, I got you. I see what's going on here.
Okay. Praise
Gratitude.
the Lord.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so it did drop down for a second. Islam. All right, so go ahead and speak, Brother Marvin. That was made pardon self.
Not a problem. Not a problem. Gratitude. I get learned to. That was. I think I started ended and giving honors to those that gave their measure before me, and all that did their measure. And we're coming from the topic of reclining up for more American national at the state of servitude. This is the appointment of Allah. It has many advantages. It removes thee from the care and the solicitude in life. Yeah, that's a powerful ayah there. And a very powerful message that you brought on the manifest. You talking about complaining. Well, actually, thinking coming from the time, we went into the different synonyms of replying, complaining, you know, accusing. You went all the way into accusing. You know what I mean? And all of this is part of that lower self. You know, my point of view. But as we strive to elevate our consciousness, as we be about building that temple of perfected man. You know what I mean? We take these lessons and we make them applicable. As I was speaking before, I had really, looked at it, like I was, when I read the lesson, I was, like, say, sidestepping that self-accusing spirit, you know what I mean, when it talks about that ego, you know what I mean, and like all of those foes, you know what I mean, but those foes are there for us to conquer, and we conquer them by, you know what I mean, getting strength from by using sources that are elevated, so to speak. But yeah, and going into this, state of servitude, you know what I mean, talking about the master and the servant. Yeah, our people, you know what I mean, when anything that comes close to talking about a master and a servant, we have, you know what I mean, we have an issue with, so, and that's because that's where our mind was taken. You know what I mean? So we don't want to have, you know what I mean? That's why we can't even face the fact that we went through slavery. You know what I mean? We can't face the fact that we're still suffering from mental slavery. Because if we did, then we could try to do something about it. You know what I mean? We have to accept where we are along the way. And we can strive to, progress from that state. And like I say, you know what I mean? You've gone to very, very powerful messages, very powerful keys, and like I say again, this particular chapter, the whole instruction from the prophet, master, and servant. And we know that we are to be the master of ourselves, and stop being the servant of that Lord self. I mean, we can look at it from many different ways, you know what I mean? But it's all based on the truth that we have been brought to a state of servitude, you know what I mean? But in that state, it has advantages that we don't have to worry about anything complex. I want to say complicated, you know what I mean? Because life is simple. You just don't have to really, really think. But, you know what I mean, as we continue to elevate, you know what I mean, as we seek freedom, you know what I mean, because when we become free, you know what I mean, then that's the time when we go to work. You know what I mean, that's when we become the master, that's being free. Then we got to go to work. Because as long as we are the servant, we can't, we have no responsibility. Or we think we don't have any responsibility. But all of that is an illusion. So we want to be able to elevate to the level that we can see through the illusion. And take our place among the nation, the human family, and be recognized, as a nation of people, a clean and pure nation of people, So it all boils down to this, the self, working on yourself, elevating yourself, studying yourself, as the prophet says. Don't study yourself, be yourself. You can't be yourself until we find out exactly who yourself truly is. The prophet brought that's true. He brought us the truth. And that is stated in the Quran, the Oshua. But the Oshua stated that what we are, truth. So that's what it's all about. Elevating. And as we elevate ourselves, as we rise to that master, then we can reach out, to our more scared that don't know. So, with that, I want to say gratitude for allowing me to speak. Just honor to
In Islam and peace, we give honors to you, brother, for that, Brother Marvin Edwards Bay. A powerful droid. It don't get no plainer than that. We definitely have to be in a high state of vibration, in order to really know what our plight is. And we just have to get out of the realm of, we've been taught to look at that concept of slavery as opposed to dealing with being of service. So gratitude, good brother, for that droid. Yes, sir. Allah's lead on and victory is sure. All right. Is there any other more who'd like to come forth and give their measure? Islam, Sister Cammy, what have you to say?
Yes, sir. The power is still off around here. Can you hear me okay?
Oh, yeah. Rome ain't built nothing to lab, but we hear you loud and clear with divine ears.
Well, if that ain't the truth, I don't know what is. This is Cammy. I'm in Michigan. I rise, honor, and praise the great God Allah. I honor Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Officials, Moors, official citizens, Moors here, there, and everywhere, especially my Moors kin. The master servant, and then the complaining portion. When you're as Moorish as ever, and you have some knowledge of the Moorish language, you'll know that when we are referring to things Moorish, sometimes that the same words or phrases will take on different meanings than what they do in a Roman world. Master servant, that slave demonstration, or the oppressor being the master and the slave being the servant, that's not the type of master-servant relationship that Allah is referring to in this Moorish language. When you are a master of the higher and lower self, and you turn that lower self into a servant of the higher self. There have been times that I have done that, if I had a situation and I had to put my mind in the mind of whatever I was trying to conquer, to try to take a guess at their next move, to survive it better, working with the five that Allah gave me. But the master servant, when Allah is your master, and you are the servant of Allah, and you live your life based on the prophecies or the highest principles known to man, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. That's your master. That's your behavior. And as a conscious Moor, you serve that God, or you are servant to Allah. in the principles. As far as the complaining, and I've said that before, I can't complain. Sometimes it depends on what's on your mind state. I can't complain about Putin not being stable mentally and possibly shooting off nuclear weapons. I can't complain about that, but I can have a civilized discussion about the condition that we still believe can be better, or the difference between complaining and nagging and woe is me and always finding something wrong in the situation. That type of complaining. There's a difference between that and being aware of the situation and saying, okay, this is the situation, this is the current demonstration, this, gotta do something about it. And then going to that whole thing as far as changing your character or living your life accordingly. I know that it was kind of close to that 9 o'clock time, so let me stand down. I hope that I articulated it in some kind of way. But gratitude.
Islam. And gratitude to you as well, sister. And we give honors to you for that grand drawing. And on a higher level of dealing with that word, servitude, so to speak. One of the words that's used, also connected to Abdullah is actually Abada. It actually deals with service to the great God. So when we serve man, we are serving the great God in all actuality. In other words, when we serve the Moorish American National. But when we go into the aspects of the measure to where we look at our sustenance coming solely from the plane of things made manifest, that's where we end up falling by climbing. And that's what we call worshiping gods outside of the self. So, we honor the God within man, and we don't honor the aspects of looking at, what the physical man is doing for you, but we are dealing with the essence of man and recognizing that he ain't doing what he doing of himself. It's the great God Allah working through man. That's why we say Allah speaks to man through man. So there's, ones have to be careful. It's just like being careful between the word slave and master too, and servant, because when they get in that state of mind, it's where they go to thinking they obeying man, and that's why they get to hating the word serving, and they don't understand this is obeying the higher self, obeying the God consciousness, obeying the high dictates of your life. So it's hard if you don't know what it means to be one through deific will with the great God Allah. You see, but it's easy when you know that you are from the source of divinity. So gratitude, goddess and queen, for that special measure. Islam, next Muslim.
Islam.
Islam, Brother Muhammad Bey.
Gratitude, grand man. Islam, grand class as always. I am Dr. Gerald Hamid Muhammad Bey, Consul General of the South Carolina Consulate of the Moorish American Nation and its government. First, let me rise in praise of our Father God Allah, who is the best knowing arranger of all things. We give the highest honors to his holy prophet, our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. He is the last prophet of this new era of time now. He is the 7th angel of the 10th chapter of Revelations. He has the high name of El-Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali. We want to give honors to Act 1 of our divine constitution and bylaws. We give honors to our grand national seal, our grand national emblem, and our grand national flag. We give honors to our theocratic government in which we all live and can live. We give honors to the forerunner, the harbinger, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, who opened and prepared the way. As John the Baptist opened the way for Yehoshua, he opened the way for our beloved prophet Noble Drew Ali. And we give honors to all of our Moorish kin, all of our visitors and listeners in the public, everyone on this Moorish Perspectives national and international conference call this evening. We give honors to those that spoke before us and those that will speak after us. And we give honors to absolutely everything Moorish. Grand class National Assistant Grant Sheik, as always. And of course, I concur with everything that our Moorish kin, our, divine ministers, executive rulers have come forth and shared with us thus far. When we speak, or as the prophet said, when we exercise our five, it creates thought activity in each and every one of us that are listening, that we may put together that thought activity and formulate our understanding of the subject matter at hand. Gratitude, Moorish kin, for that. When we look at the subject matter, repine not, O Moorish American nation, at the state of servitude. It is the appointment of Allah and hath many advantages. It removeth thee from cares and solicitudes in life. Our Father God, Allah, and the spirit of our beloved prophet Noble Drew Ali are always on time. Always on time. We just got finished coming through the chapters dealing with the holy unity of the rich and the poor. Holy instructions of unity and obedience of children towards their father. So when we're talking about repine not, we know this word repine means it's dealing with what? A state of mind. This precedes any action. The state of mind. I am being instructed as a Moorish American national to not have a mental attitude of rejection, repulsion, judgment in my duty and my responsibility to aid and assist, to bring contentment and balance in whichever way that I can to our people. See, the grand man just a moment ago, he mentioned a word when he talking about, let's not get this thing mixed up about that word servitude. Remember, the chapter is called Holy Instructions. Oh, so now when we apply that to what is being said, we talking about holy in servitude. That changes the whole way and the understanding of what's being talked about. This is nothing derogatory. It is just the opposite. Because this is talking about being what we were originally created to be. Many, I'm sure, have heard this saying. No man or woman is an island. Why is that? In our Moorish science, we are taught that everything is connected to every other thing. We call it the golden cord of love. Oh my goodness. And this is the very first thing that Prophet Noble Drew Ali taught us, divinely instructed us that we need to learn how to love, we need to learn how to serve, we need to learn how to be humble, we need to learn how to aid and assist with humility and joy. Why? Because there's nothing that one can do in this life without having interaction some kind of way or form with another being. I can't go to work if I don't have someone to work for. That's servitude. But here we're talking about in our divine, in our holy covenant of the Moorish American Asiatic state, of the Asiatic nation, We are divinely instructed, straight from the great God and Father of the universe. If thy brother is in adversity, assist him. If thy sister is in trouble, forsake her not. And then it goes into say it has many advantages because it removes us from the cares and solicitudes of life. You see, this going back to who is rich and who is poor. When in this system that we live in, we are basically trained and molded to hold tightly onto our worldly possessions, onto our time and our energy. Oh, I ain't got time to help you out, brother. Brother, I only got enough for me. Oh, well, you don't look like, that you're going to do with what you asked me for to do. See, that is a state of wrong judgment. That's called suspicion. In the Grand Quran of Mecca, the great God says, avoid suspicion. For suspicion in most cases, not in some cases, but in most cases is a sin. Why? Because it deals with doubt. When I entertain a thought, right, somebody asks me for help, and all of a sudden I entertain help. Well, I don't know if brother or sister, if you really need some help. I'm in error. This is why the prophet said we need to learn how to love. When we do things in love, as the grand man stated, when I look at my brother and I look at my sister, no matter what state or condition that they are in, if I look at them and I see the reality of who and what they are the creation of the great God and Father of Allah. That's who they really are. If I get past their so-called physical manifestation, if I get past maybe the stench that they may have from not having to bathe, if I get past, right, the unclean clothes that they have on, or if I get past even their arrogance in their attitude when they're approaching, if I look past that and see an opportunity, see as a servant of the great God, this is an opportunity because It was the great God and Father that gave us first. He served us with love and gave us everything on this plane that we need to take care of ourselves. That's the living example, family. That's what he gave us. And once we start learning how to love, as one of the songs says, looking through each other's eyes in love, humanity will rise in love. And then our spirits will be one. That's the only way, family. We have to rise in the spirit of love. That is true unity. Holy instructions from the prophet on how to be what is called Abduhu, the servant of the truth, the servant of the great God and Father of Allah. And you can only do that if you got love in your heart. You got to have unabounding love, unabounding generosity, and unabounding courage. Islam and gratitude. Thanks for letting me share, Grand Man. This is the grand class. Peace and love.
In Islam, and gratitude for the measure, brother. Peace and love for the draw, and indeed, all praise be to Allah for that measure. And we getting ready to go to our officials right now. And what we want to do in going forth, we want to go into the exegesis of the Holy Quran, commentary and reflections, so that our family can get an even deeper aspect, to this definition, that we are speaking of. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to share this real quick and give you this brief reading as we go forth. And then we go into our officials. And I'll show it to you right here, fam. This is a powerful definition that was actually given here. Okay, and it's dealing with, the concept of hold up, let me make sure I got you on the right area here, because I know they be giving different pages. Okay, yeah. Pardon self. So yeah, this is actually dealing with because I got the book in my hand and that particular portion. Okay, that's it right there. Yeah, there it is right there. That's the one I'm looking for. And it's actually a section in this particular work. This is just part of it. It's a whole lot more than this, but I'm just giving this particular portion because it relates to exactly what it is that we're demonstrating right now. And it's dealing with what is worship and servitude. So I want to start right here. And we can actually start, right here in this area right here. And it actually says, and it's coming from Surah 17, Ayat 15. In the Grand Quran, it says, oh, come on now, don't you do that. Okay, yeah, it says you're mindless, extolling or praising Allah does not contribute to his glory. It says, nor does any blasphemy or disobedience take away of his grandeur and dignity. And Allah said, you may imagine you are benefiting me through your worship, but acts of yours cannot add the least particle of goodness to my overflowing goodness. And that's a Hadith Qudusi narrated by Abu Dawud. In other words, it's saying that, because some people think that what they do empowers the creator. No, but what you do empowers the divinity within self. Is for your benefit, because the great God Allah is the one that truly provides. So he utilizes us as vessels, so to speak, right? But when it went on, it says the purpose of creation of all rational beings is their cognition of the existence of their creator and their conscious willingness to conform their own existence to whatever they may perceive of his will and plan. Now, if you go into our teachings and you notice when we open up, we talk about, those who conform to the will of the great God Allah, you see, and he basically have instituted these laws in our being, so to speak, right? This is saying basically the same thing. The purpose of creation of all rational being is their cognition of the existence of their creator and their conscious willingness to conform their own existence to whatever they may perceive of his will and plan. It is the twofold concept of cognition and willingness that gives meaning to what the Quran describes as ibadat, or worship. That's why you have to be careful, because whatever you give your will to, or whatever you submit your will to, so to speak, can actually become an idol or a god outside of the self, your own ego. It can be finances, it can be anything that you put before the supreme reality. But it says your worship of him should consist of such acts as may help you use your own power and ability given by him to the molding of good moral character and benefiting his creation. You see? So when you aid and assist somebody, that's really an act of worship, so to speak. Unbeknownst to many, some people think it's dealing with going bowing down and so forth and so on. These are rituals and rites and ceremonies and forms. But when you can actually conform your will to that of the supreme being, this is where you are able to look into the face of your brother and sister and see the great God Allah. It says, if your worship inspires you to follow his ways and commands of love for his creation, you contribute to make possible the best of civilization on righteous lines. Human beings did not give morals to this deity, but he has planted his own morals in human beings. The whole of the Quran is simply a commentary on the attributes of Allah, taught to you, Surah 2, Ayat 31. All the laws and regulations are given in the Holy Book. When pursued, be in your life in accordance with the requirements of these attributes. To be virtuous is to lead such a life. To walk humbly on earth, 31:19, Surah 31:19, means to imbue yourself with his divine attributes. In adoring these divine attributes, you are reminded of the ways to acquire noble qualities yourself. To glorify Allah is to edify yourself. When the Holy Quran relates to the events of some great men, it is only to illustrate how such men lived up to these attributes. Ibn al-Arabi said, at the true station of servitude, right, abdu'iyat, Allah is described by the attributes of the servant. That's powerful. This does not mean that Allah lowers himself to the state of the servant, abid, for there is nothing lower than the servant of Allah, abid, before Allah, or the state of servitude, abdu'iyat. It states this subject matter is explained by Jalal ad-Din al-Rumi in his Mathnawi 3669, and that's 3673, where he said, when a candle is burning in bright sunlight, its flame is overlapped by the brightness of the sun and is hardly visible. The flame does not cease to exist, right? It says, nor is its light consumed by the sunlight. Similarly, when a person comes near to his Lord, his light is overwhelmed by the light of the Lord. The person's light continues to exist, but its attributes are wholly absorbed into God's attributes. Now, this is what we close at, and y'all hear me quote this all the time. Ibn Arabi said, when a worshiper enters into the state of servitude with Allah's shared attributes, he appears in theophany, Jalal to him with the same shared attributes. In this state of servitude, the servant comes to know the mystery of his relationship to his Lord. And the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, assures us of this when he says that through implicit worship, ibadat, our God becomes our limbs with which we walk, our ears with which we hear, our tongues with which we speak, our eyes with which we see. Hadithi Kusi. This is an astonishing relationship with Allah, and you will find very few who are able to taste it. So you hear me quote that all the time. So it's saying that when you in the state, of implicit worship, the great God Allah is working through you, through your limbs. You see, because when you walk and you on that mission, you on that journey, when the prophet made that Hajj we was talking about, he made that journey in his process of unfoldment and embodying the attributes. He received that truth by listening to that divine, insight from the adepts. You see, he came back over here to speak to us with the tongue of truth. And it was he who seen the divine vision of us being a nation right now, i.e. the Moorish American government. So when we talk about being of service to each other, we have to always look at it like this. We only serving Allah, and we are serving according to his call. Arm, leg, arm, head, Moors. I, self, law, am master. So we just say gratitude, Islamism without the schism. And we want to give honor to our Moorish kin for everything it is they have contributed, all of your contributions and everything it is you will contribute later in the future. And at this time, we're going to go forth to our officials. And at this time, let us call forth our beloved goddess and queen sister, all sect, Amun El, Islam, Assistant Grand National Secretary of the State of Moorish America. You there, goddess and queen? Okay, Islam. Gratitude. Okay, I heard her. She say she's here, but she's not available to speak. Praise be to Allah. But gratitude, Islam, sister. Let us call forth our beloved National Mufti, Grand Mufti, Dr. Kanchu Ma'ak Herube. Islam. I see Allah in you, Grand Man. I see Allah in you. Islam.
Islam. I see Allah in you. Angel, gratitude. Collins forth in the grand lesson this evening. We rise, giving all thanksgiving, adoration, worship, and praise to our Father God Allah, great God of the universe, most beneficent and most wise. We give it the highest honors that we can give to his prophet, our prophet, the last prophet in these days and in these times, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, the savior of humanity. We give honors to his forerunner, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, and we give honors to his government. Our government, the Moorish American government, the government in which we live. According to Act 6, we give honors to the officials of this said government. Our divine ministers, Swift Angels, Mufti, Royal Council, secretaries. We give honors to our citizens, the Moorish Americans. We give honors to our flag and our divine constitution and bylaws. Our Holy Quran, our Grand National Seal, Grand National Emblem, our Book of Fire, the Exhument of a Nation. We give honors to everything that is Moorish. We give a special high honor to you, National Sister Grand Sheikh, Dr. Shadu Amiti Amedu Shepsuel, for bringing forth the Moorish perspective this evening. We give honors to all of our Moorish kin who have spoken before us, to our Moorish kin that will speak after us. We give honors to you, angels. We just continue to give the honors where they're due and honoring all true and divine prophets. And we give honors to our ancestors as they have come before us leading the way, and we are them today without the doubt or the contradiction, because no one has the power to change man from his descent nature. And praise Allah for this class and these lessons in our new chapter dealing with the master and the servant, and how, as it says, repine not on Moorish American National at the state of servitude. And this is very important because, as our Moorish kin have been clearly pointing out, that there's so many ways to unfold this lesson and draw the duality of the universe and how it's important and it's necessary as far as how we approach situations that tend to arise in the bands of society. I think it's also important that we look at, the master is always the one who is master of the universe, the great God Allah. And we are all servants or subservient to his will, because this is what he was created from the very get-go, is the thought, to be the strength of Allah made manifest, to serve the will of Allah, getting to experience itself through every single one of us in that different aspect, or as a piece of the grand puzzle, and being able to experience each piece in itself, because Allah is in us all. And so it's a grand drawing for us to recognize that we are serving ourselves, in servitude to the Master, to the great God, and that there's no need to fret when you are serving the great God, when you are serving the universal order and harmony that brings about abundance and balance and prosperity and peace to one, or basically everything that deals with the higher self, the mother of the virtues and the harmonies of life, that breed justice, mercy, love, and right. And we serve the Master, as Sister Kemi was talking about, the higher nature of man, which is Allah in man, that we find no need to feel like when one says servitude, one is being put into some kind of slavery, or that one is being told to shut up and just listen, or that sense where because one is not being considered in one's own life. But it does bring forth the grand drawing for us to recognize that we have a task, that we've been given a task, we've been given an ordination, or as many of us heard in a different expression, many are called, but few are chosen. And in the chosen is still not just the ones that get to come home, but the ones that have a mission and a direction straight from the divine and to accomplish, to bring peace on earth and goodwill towards men. And so we must work in service to this wish of our Master, the great God of the universe, the great Master of the universe, the one who has created everything is, was, and evermore to be. And that's, once again, working towards what we demonstrate as Islamism, peace with everything, peace with man, peace with self, peace with the creations that have been put out here for us to experience this beautiful, wonderful thing called life, and to be able to go through all the ways of life until all the lessons is learned. And so it takes away, as I said, all the cares, takes away all the worries when you give your life in servitude, or as Yehoshua said, the key question that every Moorish American has to ask himself is, am I willing to give my life in willing sacrifice for men? And so when you understand that aspect of the servitude to the mission of the Master, our Father God Allah, when you connect those things, like it says, there's no need no longer for the stress of the solicitude of one's trying to get you to do this, or trying to get you to do that, trying to get you to buy this, or try out this new fad. You don't get caught up in the whirlwind of like what's happening now on the internet with our people. There's so much information out there, so much solicitude. Come over here to this Milwaukee understanding. Come over here to this Washington understanding. Come over here to this whatever other thing, U-Bar or some kind of Republic or some kind of, I don't know, some crazy thought up organization that these different ones be having out here. You no longer get caught up in that when you understand the mission. When we understand that we in the service to each other, to our people, and to the prayers that have been set out generations ago, and bringing about a correction of the atrocities that have happened to our ancestors and those who came before us that allow us to be here today. And so, we have to serve the purpose of bringing a redemption to our people, to bring in some kind of remedy or aid to the trauma and to the pain that our people are experiencing in this day and age. And that can only be done when we, as nurses or doctors, follow the protocol of the head doctor, of the Egyptian adept, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, who was sent by the great God Allah with this information through our forefathers and mothers to show us, this is how you heal. This is how you are now the doctors of divinity, can be the doctors of divinity and bring about healing to our people, which starts, of course, from the center and it vibrates to the outer bounds. So it's just been a grand class. Gratitude for the class. Gratitude, your time, attention, and respect. We love you. Islam and peace.
Yes, sir. And Islam and peace, we love you too, grand man, for that drawing. Islamism without the schism. Praise be to Allah. Islam. All right. Well, at this time, let us call forth our Grand National Secretary of State of Moorish America, Islam, Sister Shepsut Rakat Ma'at and Pooh, Tutankhamun Bay. Islam.
Islam, gratitude.
Gratitude, Grand National Secretary of State. I see the God Allah in you, God woman.
And you as well, God man, gratitude to all of our Moorish kin. First of all, I want to rise, giving all praises to our Father God Allah, giving honor to our Prophet Noble Drew Ali, the last prophet in these days and times, giving honor to our Moorish American government, all of our officials, staff, the angels, muftis, divine ministers, most especially our Moorish kin. Giving honor to all those Moors that spoke before me, all those Moors that will speak after me. Giving a special honor to our National Assistant Grand Sheikh of Moorish America, Dr. Shedawal Menti El Mohed Chepsuel, for opening our meeting according to law and hosting a Grand Moorish Perspectives class this evening. Giving honor to our National Grand Secretary, State of Indiana, Dr. Sayanasi Nuhetaru L, for taking registration and reading our subject chapter for the week. Giving honor to Act 1, to our family online, also to all of our Moorish kin. This has been a grand class, Dr. Shaheed. Much gratitude to you more. Our subject matter coming from Ayat 1, repine not, O Moorish American national, at the state of servitude. It is the appointment of Allah and has many advantages. It removeth thee from cares and solicitudes in life. And the cares and solicitudes are, having anxieties, worry, concern, what's going to happen and things of that nature. This class, as our Moorish kin have stated, has so many keys. And just looking at it from the perspective of us being not only the master but the servant as well, recognizing, the God state within ourselves. And the more that we learn how to serve our people, to serve fallen humanity, that in itself teaches one discipline, control, having patience, learning how to be charitable, being benevolent. And these are kind, these are the attributes that we have naturally within ourselves when we are coming from that higher self within ourselves. And I have to agree, when I first came into Moorish science, looking at the words obey and servant, I was looking at servant as being on a level of a slave, attributing it to something negative, until one has to do the research, has to learn the difference, that you got to recognize when you're still bound down by chains, within learn how to respect the instructor or the teacher. And if we did anything out of accord, then we were taken out of the class. So we have to look at the fact that we were the ones that asked to be here, that we might learn and grow and unfold. So this is why forgetfulness is man's greatest enemy. Because when you forget what your purpose is, when you forget why you are here, then you are subject to do anything or get taken off the count behind your own lower thinking. So when you look at it from the aspect of serving the great God within you, serving because this is the right thing to do. And too often we see here on this manifest, it seems as if people have strayed away from what is proper to do, what is righteous to do. I've heard, several want to speak about it. It seems like they've lost their minds. Well, we have got to go back to what is natural to us as a people, and it is that love divine. And when you're demonstrating that love divine, then you don't have any problem, extending your hand to assist your brother or your sister woman. That demonstration that you brought forth in reference to complaining, and that opens the door for a lack of something or disease or bringing misery into oneself. And the only way that we can change that that negative coming toward us is, in essence, to change our thought pattern. Because you can't complain and be grateful in the same point in time. So this is why we've got to learn that complaining is not of a benefit. And more is an active and not passive. When you're complaining, then you're looking for not outside of yourself. I give honor to you for bringing forth those root words and dealing with complaint. And just for me, what I received out of class, one of the degrees was dealing with how we have to learn how to study our own selves, to learn how to be the witness of our own thoughts. That way, we recognize by thought being the cause of it all. If we're thinking negatively, we want to immediately let that thought pass. Don't dwell on that, because we're not trying to collect any further negative karmic debt. And that's a word that stuck with me, a tabuton, this was on the Arabian side, dealing with the ascent of a hill or the step of a ladder. And that's if we find ourselves in in lower realm or lower vibrations, then it's part of our responsibility, first of all, to recognize it and then pull ourselves up out of that condition. And this is why we are so truly blessed to have these keys, these tools, these highest lessons, handed down from our prophets and our ancient forefathers, to be able to recognize the fact that there's a weakness here and get up out of it, because we are not designed to be here wallowing in misery. So this is a grand lesson. And in order for us to be able to help another, we've got to first help ourselves, and maintain that strength that Allah has placed within each and every one of us. So this has been a grand class, Dr. Shaheed. Much gratitude to you more. Our chairman's on a mission this evening, but, we just give praises to Allah, honor to the Prophet for our Moorish American government and all of our Moorish kin and family online, that help to support these special teachings and instructions. Peace and love.
In Islam and gratitude, Grand National Secretary of the State, we give honors to you for all it is that you do as well, and honors to the Tribe of Endurance, because when you spoke, we know the chairman was speaking through you, and that's a powerful, special measure. We definitely know we see the great God Allah in that grand man, and everything it is that he has been, is, and evermore shall be. The more Islam, gratitude, Moorish kin. Well, all right. At this time, since we there, we might as well call forth our National Grand Sheik of Moorish America, Dr. Serapis Amin Rael, Islam. You there, Grand? Islamism, man. They ain't got to tell me that I see Allah in you, grand man. Islam.
Oh, wonderful you, wonderful you, wonderful you. Praise Allah for you. And this lesson and blessing that we have received this evening, we give a lot of praise for it. And highest honors was love taught. Everything he brought, everyone he taught. Prophet Noble Jew Ali, who did come 5 times more powerful. This has set us all free. Thank you, Prophet. Honors to our officials out there, our Grand Mufti, Sister Grand Mufti, Grand Mufti Corps, Divine Ministers, Student Ministers alike, Royal Council, citizens, sympathizers, and supporters. We give honors to you, give honor to our flag, a seal, the emblem, Constitution which we stand. Everything from the Moorish Muslim, everything in the Moorish land, we give honor to you. This has been a very powerful lesson this evening, and to the degree that it is surfaced on Repine Not, old Moorish American National, or other words, man, at the state of servitude, being the servant, if you will, of the Most High, gives you over the years an idea about what be still means. And even in the midst of a lot of noise, you'll hear one say, be still, or let the peace be still. And this is what we was hearing when my sheep was speaking on that. This very powerful word, servitude. You know, you be serving one and thinking that you're running something, but you really paying attention to what the inner you has to give, because it's coming from you, your inner self, that gives it a lot of speech to man, what? Through man. And in a still small voice. And he who is still, what? He hears. And this is what we do in our government. There's no big eyes, little U's in this government. There's only Allah, Ali, and we, if I can use it like that, to give us. And so this is why we think it's imperative or important that we at least comprehend some certain aspects of it. And just like that servitude sticks right out there, and we automatically, it's like you want to start with your phone. Thank you. Thank you. As we say, is we want to look at these things from the level of separation, if I would use that term, of our God from our devil, and keep everything on the level that we rise and high above a spinning plane where a spinning man does spinning things, only to give Allah the praise, adoration, thanksgiving, and glory, because it was Him that we, as Moorish American nationals, are able, once again, after 500 some odd years, to tell the story. You know, you want to say that the prophet came and went through the travel route to where he ended up getting back on tools, you know, where you'd be able to reinvest our character in the lessons that Allah is making us into, because who made you? Allah. And the fact that the prophet went to Kemet and got these lessons and then brought them all the way back over here to shows his servitude to us, servitude to Allah, and servitude to his brothers and sisters who was chained away. But he brought them one and brought a liberation and broke them chains. chain of slavery too. From these ones, that these ones are free. And like as the sister would say, free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we all free at last. This has been a grand lesson, and appreciate the lesson, man. Praise the Lord for you. January 15, 1929. Warning from the prophets is read in every meeting. Everybody inform all citizens they must end all radical as they speak while working on the street. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop blessing your God to Europeans and cause confusion. Remember, your God is for your salvation. Your baby daughters will be a severe consequence. We offer love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice then must take its course. Any citizen and group of citizens who hold malicious feelings toward the government or the prophet or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their reward from the law for their injustice. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by the prophet. They lose confidence in their prophet. They should turn in their garden budget, for the servant affairs, and return to the state where the prophet found it. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet, number 2 Ali, and if the prophet is not right, the government is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans to do their part in protecting the prophet and the government. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet to the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The order of prophet number 2 Ali. This divine warning is supreme law now and will be enforced by the said government hereby. Islam, Islam, Islam. Holy covenant of the Asiatic nation. We are the children of one father, provided for by his care, and the breast of one mother has given you son. Let your minds of affection, therefore, unite thee with our brothers, that peace and happiness make the Lord our Father's house. And when you separate in the world, remember the relation that binds you to love and unity. Burn out a stranger for thy own blood. Thy brothers in adversity assist them. If our sisters in trouble, forsake her not. So shall the forces of our Father contribute to the support of his whole race, and his care be continued to you all in your love to each other. Islam, Islam, Islam. This meeting forbids the clause called Act 2 by the divine constitution and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Go in peace, more. Much love to you. Tomorrow's Sunday school. See you at that hour. Peace. Peace and love.
Islam, great class.
Islam, Moors. Islam, we love you, Moors. Peace and love, Moors. I see a lie in all of y'all, Moorish Americans. I see a lie in all of y'all, Moorish Americans. Peace and love. Peace and love. All right. Gratitude. All right. Want to give honors to all of our family that came and checked in, those who came, as normally all is well, and those who wasn't able to make it, all is well. Honors to you all, and we just say gratitude for all the work you do. Brother Gamble Bay, Dashra Ab, who else it is? I thank Brother A Bay, the real cleanup. Want to give all honors to all of you, family, and we say gratitude for everything it is you do and all that you demonstrate. And keep uplifting fallen humanity, and we can never go wrong. Allah is leading on, and victory is sure. And praise be to Allah. And also, what I would like to do is, go into the special measure, of dealing with addressing our beloved brother briefly that was speaking in here, to give our family some clarity. Anytime that you see me utilizing the dictionaries that are out there as we are compiling our own right now, we actually utilizing it for the transliterations. We're not dealing with the pictures. I want to show you something real quick, family, before we get off of here, so that our family make no mistake about it. Evidently, that brother there, he may not have a knowledge of what it is that we actually demonstrate. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to share my screen so that you can get some comprehension out of this. And then we don't have to address this measure no more. Or maybe we will. Who knows? I'm all right with that as well. But I just hate to keep going over the same thing over and over again. So I want to show you something here. We're dealing with, this is called transliteration. See this KNWY? That's transliteration, family. These are pictures. Anytime you see me using one of these dictionaries, I always discard this here because I know that don't matter. You understand? Now you say, well, how is that possible, Brother Commission? I'm finna show you right now. And we're going to do this so that you get a grand drawing. And then you understand exactly what the measure is. You see this right here? The instructions of Tahotep, right? This is the actual papyri of the instructions of Tahotep, right? Let's go down and see what it says about this. You see? This is a facsimile. This is what this is called. A facsimile of Maxim of 21, right? It's written in the hieratic script. Are those the glyphs and pictures that you normally see? Oh, I didn't think so. So that's hieratic, which is called the Medu Re Incomet. I'm going to go through this step by step so you can get it. And you don't have a misunderstanding. The instructions of Tahotep, right? Which is the wisdom text that date from the Middle Kingdom. Look at the date they put on this. They will actually tell you it's like 46, sometime it'll say 4500 BC, whoever you're dealing with. But this is called the oldest book in the world. And actually, this is one of the oldest papyri to be found. But this papyri is written in hieratic. Now, let me show you something here. This is the original papyri here now. Now, let me show you this. I done did this a million times, but we're going to do it again so our family can get it. You see? And it'll actually tell you this too. It says, abstract, the translation of Maximum 21 in the instruction of Tahotep. All Egyptologists have used the most comprehensive presentation of this wisdom text, which dates from the Middle Kingdom. They ain't talking about no pictures. They talking about exactly what I just showed you. Written in the hieratic script, not hieroglyphics, my brother. This is the oldest, one of the oldest papyrus. It says on the papyri roll, now commonly referred to as the papyri of Prissy. You see, which is another misnomer. But it says it's housed in what they call the Bibliotheque of National of Paris, and the translation and interpretation of Maximum 21 in the instruction of Tahotep has historically been a very difficult passage for Egyptologists. And I can agree, because I found so many errors in here when going into it myself. We got a whole lesson on this, me and the scribes, where we were going through the papyri. There are a lot of errors in their translation, but it says this difficulty manifests in both problems of grammatical analysis and cultural interpretation. You see, the author begins by providing a transcription and a transliteration of the Maxim of 21 from the Egyptian text. Following this, he submits his own original translation of the passage, right? Compared to the translations of all other Egyptologists, and then proceed to grammatical and cultural commentary. Through a close grammatical analysis of this maximum, this article shows that the image of women in this maxim is overwhelmingly positive without any traces of negative view. The article concludes by suggesting that an Egyptian woman should be analyzed inside their own cultural paradigm of Ma'at, which is fundamentally and deeply African in both essence and scope, right? So they got it in, other languages. Actually, you go into other languages. And when you get down here, let's go a little further. It says the translation and interpretation of Maximum 21 in the instructions of Tahotep has historically been a very difficult passage. That's what we just read, right? I wanted to read that again because they reiterated it here. You see? So now, what you see here is them creating these symbols and replacing the original papyri up here with the symbols. That was done by Champollion. He was the one that applied these alphabets, which is the original actual text family, to these special measures, which are pictures. I keep telling you this over and over. That's why you don't see this as papyri. You see this as the way that they created it. This transliteration is not based on this, even though they would tell you that. It's based on this up here, family. So when I say I overlook, when I give a definition out of the dictionary, I'm overlooking this is because I know this transliteration doesn't come from these pictures. It comes again from this. But it was changed into these pictures here, to make you think that everything was dealing with this. Now ask yourself, why isn't the original in that papyri form? You see? And once you understand that, and then you go into what we call, quote unquote, papyri, such as the Chester Beatty papyri, right? Prime example. This is Chester Beatty papyri. You see that? I'm going to show you another measure dealing with the Chester Beatty papyri too. You can actually find this online. I got this whole demonstration right here. Notice it says, watch this. And this right here is dealing with Gardenia. He actually the one that remixed the modern version of this papyri too. I don't know why they ain't let me pull that down. But anyway, let me take it back in and try to blow it up by hand. No, they ain't let me do that either. But you can see it here. It's talking about the library of Chester Beatty description of hieratic papyri. And so you can find all of the hieratic papyri in that. Just like I just showed you a few minutes ago when I showed you this right here. That's hieratic papyri. That's what it looked like. You do not see no hieroglyphics on this family. There are no hieroglyphics. Those are hieratic alphabet. Once you understand that right there, I know it's hard because you was taught to look at pictures. The pictures are meant to be understood metaphysically. So when the brother asked me why was I using the glyphs, I wasn't using the glyph. I was using the transliteration and the translation that come from the actual papyri. You understand? So I'm going to give you another drawing here to make it even clearer though. Like I said, because we want to make sure that our family get this and we don't have to deal with this no more. Now, let me show you here. Let's go to the British Museum. Give me 1 second here. I don't know why that demonstration freezing up on me there. Let me hit this here and see what it let me open it up. All right, give it a second. Okay, there we go. That's what we're talking about. Sometimes if y'all, that's a little trick. Y'all seen, I showed y'all that trick right there, right? Sometimes it'll freeze up on you. So now this is your papyri here, right? Of the Chester Beatty. You see this here? It gives all the history behind and everything, all the plates that it's connected to, and everything, right? Now, this is original papyri right here. Now, when you go down here, you're going to see as many different pieces of it too. Let me hide this real quick. You're going to see as many different pieces of this here. It's all in hieratic writing, family. This is in the British Museum. So anything that was written with the Chester Beatty and turned into pictorials is not the original language. You see, it's a remix. So you got to do your research and stop listening to these Egyptologists and those who are claiming that they deal with Egyptology. And this stuff is long. It actually was a long papyri, and your boy was the one that cut it up. Gardenia cut it up, into these different sections. So what he did is he transliterated certain papyri based on the system of Champollion, and then he discarded this papyri. That's why y'all so confused about knowing what the original language is, family. And I got hundreds of papyri. See, this British Museum too. You know, y'all might have to take a trip out there. This is the Albany papyri. You see what is wrote in? It's wrote in hieratic. Do you see hieroglyphics right there? No, you don't. And this is what y'all ain't getting. But this is the original source material. Once you understand that, then you'll get what I'm saying. So with that being said, family, stop it with the shenanigans. You know, because that's always been my position, what I just showed you. And that's what it's going to remain. But get this teaching, though, because we're trying to teach you to love instead of hate. You know, stop looking for conflict and trying to find fault in information, because you missed the whole demonstration I was talking about just then. Because you're trying to make me wrong on something. You see, when we've been demonstrating this for years, and ain't nobody else over here demonstrating this like we doing. Just keep waiting. We're going to have it after a while where you ain't going to see no pictures in there. You're going to see straight hieratic, and you're going to see the definitions. And that's going to come from us over here, because ain't nobody else willing to do it, because they brainwashed with the European, by the European Egyptologists. So that being said, family, we just want to say gratitude. That was just a bonus to add on to the lesson. But make no mistake about it, we just wanted to address your complaint. Peace and love, family. We love you. The best is yet to come.